following program on Ada Derana 24 is classified as PG. It is intended for younger children in the company of an adult. It may contain some suggestive dialogue, infrequent coarse language, some sexual situations, or some moderate violence. Viewer discretion is advised. The following program contains opinions of the participants and does not reflect the views and beliefs of the Derana Media Network. The network believes in a safe space for all ideas to be expressed without any censorship and on its duty to create such a platform for free speech. Viewer discretion is strictly advised.
Hello and welcome to TPS, where we discuss about the most relevant and pressing conversation that shape the country's future and also the economic landscape of Sri Lanka. So during the last episode, we were discussing about the tariff condition that has been affecting Sri Lankans and also the political landscape of Sri Lanka diversely. And it is a subject matter that you and I have been curiously looking forward to know answers and solutions for through the government and all political parties. So there have been bigger questions into this segment as to could we have prepared better, or else are we doing enough? Or more like, do we have solutions to face this condition of the tariffs and make sure that Sri Lanka is properly ready and has given the fact of alternative solutions in facing the repercussions, or more like getting out of this situation? So today's topic is about Trump's tariffs echo in Sri Lanka's economic struggles, because it has been echoing throughout the landscape from people in different dimensions, not just the apparel segment. And to discuss about this topic, I have two gentlemen over here. So towards my right, I have Mr. Sanjeewa Dayarathne from the National People's Power. Welcome you to the program. And also towards my left, I have Mr. Sumudu kakulandala from the United National Party. Welcome you as well.
Thank you for inviting.
All right, gentlemen. So now let's start with a very blunt question. I'm going to ask it first from you. When it comes to the Sri Lankan context of us facing the tariff conditions, and did you all see the tariff coming about and it will get into this much of an escalation? Or in that context, why didn't the government move faster than it should have been? Yes.
Yeah, sure. Thank you for inviting me to the program. Let's take it in this way. Anyway, government were in the preparing in this process, not expecting this much of high tariff anyway, but since we are in the IMF program, we were understand that our external sector is pretty vulnerable to the any sort of a shocks. When it comes to the crisis, the initially crisis came up with the ISB holders, and it is mainly created with the external sector. So on that respect, we were understanding that there would be, if there is any, it might not be only the tariff issue, but any kind of external sector, external shocks, we need to be prepared. So in that aspect, even starting from the government side, it is very important to face these external sector shocks, to understand where these dollar inflows are coming in. In Sri Lanka, there are 4 types of dollar inflows are coming in. One is worker remittances, other one is tourism, other one is export, and other one is FDI. So FDI is pretty limited given the current context. And Sri Lanka anyway preparing and encouraging the worker remittance, which is growing at about 20%. Tourism, from the beginning itself, we are trying to increase the number of, not only the number of tourist arrival, but the relative income also targeting. So on that aspect also, those are the 2 major revenue sources that is generated, and the export, of course. So export, in this particular moment, for the last 5 months, the export figures are announced, that is about growing at about 6%. This is not good enough. So we know that the EDB has planned out a lot of programs in order to improve the export, but you know, it is the improving the export is not that easy like the bringing the tourists or the increase in the worker remittances. So we are in the process, not only focusing mainly on the tariff, but the government was focusing on if there is any sort of external shocks, how we are going to prepare it, because it is one of the required in the IMF program as well. So we were in the prepared, but of course the 44% tariff hike is a pretty unexpected one. I believe that all the world is sort of shocked in respect to their tariff percentage, and that is in short answer, we were in preparing not only to the looking at the tariff external shocks, but looking at all the other external shocks. We are in preparing it. Yeah.
All right. Now, Mr. Sanjeewa says the NPP government has been absolutely in shock as well, but they have been preparing as well for external global shocks. But then again, from the UNP's perspective, how do you feel like is it a situation that would have been able to mitigate, or else more like be more prepared in terms of facing it in this situation? Because it has been echoing throughout. We have been talking about this US tariff condition since the beginning of the situation was brought out by Donald Trump, and then Sri Lanka was again a little bit silent during that 90 days period. We could have done much more. So in that context, what do you feel like UNP thinks about this condition?
Thank you. First of all, thank you very much for inviting us by representing the United National Party. For your question and what is Mr. Sanjeewa Dayarathne told earlier, the preparation with the now what is happening in the when the Donald Trump's elected in I think November, around November. Before that, Honorable President Anura Kumara Dissanayake already elected as the president in Sri Lanka in the September. Then their NPP government came into the power November. So already they should have somewhat understanding about what is happening in the global arena. So when we are trying to becoming a leader of a country or head of the state, or we are ready to govern the country, we should have we have to foresee about the what is happening in the global and global trade, and what is our revenue, what is our expenditure, and as well as the exports. What are the countries that we are sending our products to in the global? So I think NPP government has to foresee about this thing before they are to go the power. They have to see this, because when we have look at the manifesto of the Donald Trump, it's very clearly they are saying, he tells their community that he is thinking about the America make great, as well as he is thinking about the global trade, and he is going to increase the tariff. That is, he already said to the people of the US. So then the majority of the people in the US approved that, his manifesto. So after that, as a government, NPP government has to think about these factors. If he is took over the power, he took over the position, then this impact directly comes to our country also, because we are our export mainly I think 25% around goes to US. Then what is the impact? One fourth I think exports are going to the US. Then we have to think about that. As a government, the NPP has to think about this. What are the other alternatives? What are the solutions? But until the last moment, when the first or 2nd of the April, Trump announces that 46% is the tariff from the US government. So after that, what they are doing, we are criticizing this point. The NPP government didn't appoint a proper dedicated negotiation team for this issue. So they have the NPP has to do that, but they didn't do that. I haven't seen any person from the political leaders led the negotiation team. I have seen that the Indonesian, I think trade minister, and Vietnam also, that minister involving, and same as the India also. The ministerial level, that means we know the protocol of the country, no? Head of state, or then the cabinet, then the ministers, then it comes to the ambassador level. But the last few days we have seen that 90 days, what happened that discussion goes in the ambassador level. Mr. Mahinda Samarasinghe, we saw in the television that he led the team, and however, they managed to reduce that tariff to 30%. We have to thank Mr. Samarasinghe and the team for that purpose. But anyway, we know that he also the ambassador at that time when the Honorable former President Ranil Wickremesinghe was in the power also. So anyway, experienced people like Mr. Samarasinghe using that people that's good. But this team, the NPP government has to think about the negotiation team. The proper team have to appointed. So in my view, I saw that it is they are not focused on the correct path from that aspect. Then they have to look at the other ways. Other ways mean the other alternatives. Did they think about that? Did the NPP government discuss about the other countries, what we can, where we can go, not by looking at the US, but thinking about the other countries, just like the other markets, by using the way of free trade agreements, the country to country, bilateral way. But I haven't seen this kind of thing is happening. But anyway, in the last time I heard that Minister Anil Jain also mentioned that in the television program, that they are not going to tell that what is happening in the negotiation table. Still they are not telling anything. We don't know what is happening in the future regarding these tariff issues. I don't know whether, I'm not telling that the experience what they have, but they have to focus more than this regarding these negotiations. But I haven't, personally I haven't seen that they are not show that much effort for this reducing this tariff.
All right, Mr. Sumudu. So I'm taking it through Mr. Sumudu to you, Mr. Sanjeewa. Now he mentioned about Vietnam and Indonesia as well, and especially India. Let's take India because it's in a close proximity as well. So Vietnam and India has 20% of the tariff, and it's far lower than us because we went from 44 and then to 30. So, and also with that point, secondly, sometimes it's harder to do it through action than it is said by words. So that I do agree as well. But in the given situation, like he mentioned, why didn't you all come up with a specific team to make sure that they look into the tariff condition? Because hand in hand, the IMF situation was going on as well. It was a lot for the government. In that context, even people might wonder, okay, now we were having the IMF situation and now it's the tariff. With all this coming up and also wondering, okay, India being a very big giant in the industrial market, it has still 20% and we are far higher than that. So we have a lot of questions. But with all these questions, what I'm asking is, why not a specific team to make sure that you all look into that specifically, and then maybe another team for the IMF? Why haven't this been checked or looked up to, or do you have any other strategies than what was being suggested by Mr. Sumudu?
Yeah, just want to correct one thing. I will have to reject the claim that there is no team is being appointed. I mean, the Treasury Secretary, Central Bank, and all those teams are there. Yes, Honorable Kumar Disayana is not in the discussion. We don't think that it is necessary to politician to lead the team, but we have appointed renowned economics and the people who can understand the situation, and we have sent the team to the US and negotiate. That has been resulted reduction of the tariff from 44 to 30%, which is at that time is a substantially higher reduction. And also what I just want to mention, meantime while we are having this discussion, even this 90 days, I mean, when we are having a discussion with the international forums, in the professional levels, we are not going to diverge whatever the transcript which we are discussing there, right? So whenever we make a discussion, once we come to the conclusion only, we are giving the details out. That's a usual way of doing the discussion in international level. So that is what we have done. After initial discussion, we have given the details, and US also have announced their middle level decision, and after that also they have mentioned that still the time is available for us to make the further discussion up until August 1st. So still we are discussing. So what we can look at is that the progress of the discussion can be viewed in different ways. So the one thing is that today or yesterday, if I'm not mistaken, the US has decided to send their crude oil testing for Sri Lanka. So most probably those samples will be reached on the 1st August. So that indicates that we are dealing with the different aspects, try to see whether to increase our import from there, and try to use some other, for example, all the countries, since they know that we are in the IMF program, so all the countries has been giving some sort of a space for Sri Lanka to recover our economy. That is why the Japan has restructured our debt, and yesterday France has agreed to restructure our debt. Saudi Arabia has restructured our debt. So those things, countries are giving some fiscal space for Sri Lanka to recover. So that is also important. So we are pretty much sure that is been playing as a card. And also we are in a very strategic location. So we are using that as well. I know that it is not only a basic economic trade war that is US is playing, Trump is playing. There is a geopolitical parties also there. So we are pretty much sure that is also being used. On top of that, the UK has decided to zero our tax on our apparel. So that is the secondary wing that we have achieved. So likewise, we are having a discussion not only with the US but with other countries as well. But all those discussions, we cannot give the transcript to the people. Right? Once we come to the certain conclusion only, we will be able to divert the information. Looking at the progress what we have made it looks like we are going to get a further reduction of the tariff, and also it is not correct that we have not or we have not understand the gravity of this situation. We have pretty much understand the gravity of situation. We know that the US apparel export to the US, it is about 2 billion. The other exports, including the rubber, it is another 900 million. Altogether, we are having about 3 billion export to the US. And for 6 months, up to the first 5 months, US, we have export about 725 million worth of funds. So we have calculated the risk also. We have calculated where if the total export to the US is reduced by 50%, 30%, 40%, what would be the hit going to be? So we need to understand that if you are going to have a 50% reduction of the export to the US, it will not hit the same amount in the dollar term, because 40% of the apparel cost, basically apparel manufacturing raw material, we are importing. So that we need to look at it, the net hit to the country. So we have done a calculation. We know that that is why the last monetary policy meeting we had in central bank, the same type of question being asked. So at the moment, looking at the reduction of the tariff, we have understanding that what would be the impact. So there will be short-term impact as well as long-term. What we believe is the short-term impact, we will be able to manage it, because already we have gone halfway of this year, and the hit would be on the next 6 months. That is not a material one that we can manage, but we know that the long-term impact would be much more higher. So that is why the Export Development Authority, and also through the other countries, because out of the total apparels which we export into the US has been reduced from before 2010, it has been above 50%. Now it has come to 34%. Giving the credit to the other government also, that composition has been reduced to 37% this year. So that means we are in the wage of diversing our apparel export to the other countries as well. In the US export this year has grown, apparel export has grown only 7%, but the apparel export to the EU and apparel export to the other countries has grown about 11%. So that diversification has been happening, and we are looking at those diversification more and more, not to rely on one particular country. So in summing up, we have taken the consideration and we have analyze and look at the impact, and we know that the short-term impact we will be able to manage, but long-term impact, of course, we are looking at how to mitigate that risk.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjeewa. I believe Mr. Sanjeewa also explained through the government's perspective as to the short-term goals and the long-term goals, or more like the objectives in terms of facing the US tariff situation, because it has been a constant question among all Sri Lankans. So we will dig deep into this conversation as to how we can bring about solutions and how Sri Lanka is prepared to face this crisis. So let's check on all these questions in the next segment. Before that, let's go in for a short commercial break. This is TPS. Welcome back to TPS. We were discussing about how the echoing of the US tariff situation has been something prominent in the current landscape of Sri Lanka, and how it has been affecting the day-to-day lifestyle and also specifically the apparel segment of Sri Lanka, and how the government and the opposition has been thinking through this situation, and how specifically we are thinking through as to get answers for the questions that we have been having throughout since we got to know about the tariff. So with all that was said by Mr. Sanjeewa, now I'm going to ask about with regards to the history that now when it comes to SLPP from after them, so they had a beacon position in terms of being pro-Western, but UNP had a good history when it comes to being pro-Western and making sure that you all get along with most of the Western countries in terms of bringing about geopolitical relationships and also the strategic alignment. Now, in that context, do you think now, if you all were in power, given that you all were pro-Western as well and you all had your mechanisms to make sure that you all are good in terms of the countries from the Western arena, do you all think like if you all were in power, this would have been a different situation?
Yeah, well, when we are talking about the law, we had power in 2015 to 2019. Our UNP led as the Prime Minister position was there, and the cabinet we have in that positions. At that time, when we look at the economy, we have managed. We have managed it very well, and only the issue was the Easter Sunday attack at that time in 2019. Yeah. So because of that, some downwinds there in that year. Then normally that the time when we administrated, that the country went well. So after the bankruptcy happened in 2022. Then again, former President Honorable Ranil Wickremesinghe took over the power as the president. He gradually managed the economy. What is happening at that time? We know the fuel queues and the gas queues and all those were there. He identified what is the main issue. We didn't have much dollars to get that any sufficient things to the people, and not only that, he understood about the mismanagement what is happening the last administrators from the administrators. Then he gave the solutions, especially the tax, the VAT. He increased it. It was reduced 15% to 8%. Then again, Honorable President Ranil Wickremesinghe has to increase it. more than previously was that amount. So that kind of decisions, what happened at the previous administrator, under the previous administrator, we changed it. Then after that, he understood that we need to go with the IMF program. So the IMF program, but at that time oppositions also opposed that no, we do not need to go for IMF. But Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe understood that we have to go IMF, and that fiscal management we have to go into that management system. So he introduced at that time, when he is in the power, he introduced the acts, very important act in 2023, Central Bank of Sri Lanka, to make the central bank independent. And then after that, Public Debt Management Act, then Public Finance Management into 2024, then at last Economic Transformation Act. So why he is bringing these acts to the parliament? To make sure that the country going a proper track, proper way. So that is with the IMF, and he had very close connection with the team of the IMF, chief of the IMF at that time, and he every moment he is keep in touch with this program. He personally involved this matter as the head of state. That is what I told it earlier. The head of state have to engage with process. So not only that, he understood that he foreseen some issues which comes in the future. So he introduced in 2023 International Trade Office. But I don't know why NPP government is not continuing that. Why the International Trade Office is important? The issues like this, we have to find out the solutions. So by maintaining this kind of office, it is very important that to find out the solutions. Not only that, if I mean international trade, then we have to go for the export. What are the areas that we can go for a export to increase the export of our country? So in our control system, I mean the administrative level, in our controlling system, we able to do those things, I mean bring some new things, especially I mentioned earlier those things. Then another side, Mr. Wickremesinghe seen that we need to bring direct investment to country. So he brought the project, the energy projects.
All right, I'm going to cut you short from there. We'll go into deep with the next segment. But before that, now, he was mentioning about how certain objectives or certain alignments were brought out during the previous history when UNP was in power, and because I was stating that it was pro-Western. So in that context, how UNP, our past president Ranil Wickremesinghe has been bringing through certain amendments and certain laws with regards to being a direct competitor in terms of economy. So let me direct this question to you, Mr. Sanjeewa. Now, when it comes to this situation, if this continues, the external debt burden is already around $55 billion. So in that condition, if it worsens as well, now how does the NPP plan to adjust the fiscal policy in a way that it doesn't actually breach the IMF conditions as well, because we are now going in through a situation hand in hand, the US tariffs and IMF, and the government has been making sure to balance it off and bring about solutions and a way to look forward in both these situations. So in that context, how do you feel like you can go through this situation that I explained?
Yeah, before that, just want to clarify, I mean, the correct certain things my colleagues explained that if the the UMP government was there, what are the remedial measures that they basically incorporated in order to face this type of situation. We have seen that throughout last couple of years, the UMP-led government is trying to bring certain things, but actually if you look at the numbers, 2015 to 2019 on average our GDP was growth only about 3.58%, and if you look at our unemployment was 4.5%, and our export did not grow much. It is held at about 11 billion a year, and our current account was negative 2 billion. So if you look at these numbers, the explanation or misinterpreted about the economic understanding about the UMP government is not that great. When we look at the numbers, and throughout, if you take the last 5 years, the IMF program, right? In 2001, we have done the we have gone to the IMF program. Only one review was done, but in that program also we are talking about the fiscal consolidation. In 2003, we didn't do any. We went to the IMF program, but we couldn't do any review. We have to stop that IMF program. And only 2009 we were able to complete the IMF program in full. In 2016, while the previous UMP government, we went to the IMF program, and we will be only able to review only 3 times. 3 reviews. But this time we have gone up to the 4th review, now 4th review, 5th review, the already IMF people are there. Throughout all those periods, we had certain acts, we had certain requirement that IMF need to be completed, but they were started but didn't complete. So likewise, when we went to the deep down in the economy, the previous Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe proposed these acts. So it does not guarantee that people can start act. We know that there are a lot of acts in Sri Lanka which is not been implemented. People can start that, but if it is not been implemented, that doesn't make any sense to improve the economy. So likewise, previously, even though they have started, they have never successfully completed those acts and enacted. That is why after East attack and when we have the COVID, country get collapsed because of 2 shocks. Historically, what we have done is we are temporarily doing some solution, but it did not make it sense. That is why when the 2 shocks were there, we were collapsed. If the previous government has done their homework properly, we would have not faced this problem. So when it comes to your questions about the fiscal consolidation, at the moment, the current under the current NPP government, for the data is up to the 5 months data is up. And when it comes to the increase of our revenue is growing at about 19.9%. Our expenses has grown only up to 9%. And our fiscal deficit has been reduced substantially, about 23% reduction of fiscal deficit. We are within the IMF parameters. We concluded the 4th review, and we have met all the IMF parameters other than the inflation, which is tricky at the moment. We do understand. So when it comes to fiscal consolidation, the fiscal consolidation means whether the government will be meet from their income through to face the expenditure. So at the moment, government has done their level best to reduce the large cabinet to the 30. Not only 30, we have bring it to the 22. Actually, we promised to 25. Still, we have the 3 ministries we can appointed, but still we are trying to cut down much ever the unnecessary expenditure. And budget in the constitution, we can go up to 30. Still, we have not gone to that level. So that is the example that the current government has been giving to the people as well as the government entities as well. We are trying to cut down all the unnecessary expenditure and try to push whatever the revenue that is being created. We know that we have given a huge tax burden to these people, and we are trying to make sure that this tax are being used in a proper manner. So while doing that, we have done our fiscal consolidation as much as possible. So previously, a lot of IMF program, the main concern was the fiscal consolidation, which has not been done. But at the moment, we have done. So while doing that, we try to shape up whatever the challenges that we are going to face. We know that in 2028, we are going to face the debt ISB payment, principal payment are going to start. So we are preparing all those requirements to develop our reserves At the moment it is 6.1 billion. We are target about 7.2 billion by end of this year. And IMF requirement is for this year we need to for central bank need to purchase about 2.6 billion from the market. At the moment we have purchased about 1.5 billion. Next 6 months we have to purchase about 1 billion. IMF 2 tranches are there, so we'll be able to meet those things. So all those requirements in order to make the fiscal consolidation as well as to strengthen our external sector has been met by the government.
Right. So in that condition, I want to ask a follow-up question as well now. People, the viewers, actually find it hard now, just as I posed the question with regards to the US tariffs and also the IMF condition. Which is the most tricky aspect for the government to currently bring about a certain solution, or more like the strategies in the long run? Because we know now with the fourth review and everything, the IMF has been continuing with, and also there is a positive, more like a light to look forward to. And the US tariff has been also, we see some sort of a positive sentiment for it going from 44 to 30. So with both these, we do see something that has been changed towards the positive sides. So what is the tricky aspect more like? Is it the IMF or the US tariff condition at this present moment?
Both are important. We are taking both are seriously.
Right.
IMF program, which is expected to end in 2027.
Yeah.
So we don't think that we will be substantially deviate from any of these primary condition, but the US tariff is a short-term requirement. We have a more time for the IMF where we can sometimes negotiate certain things if the US tariff is going to hit substantially in our external sector, so we will have a chance to talk to the IMF and have some leeway on some of the parameters. So both are important, but at the moment the problem in the room is the US tariff. So that is why we have sent the required people, professional people who can manage the situation, and also not only we are talking to the US, but we are talking about the other people as well. If you, just to remind, previously, our ambassadors are just ambassadors. They are just sharing document. I am not going to humiliate those people, but they are not being used to generate some income to the country. So current government has been more focused on sending people and educating the ambassadors. They should be an economic agent to the other countries to bring those revenue to the country. So that is how the current government has been focusing on these two problems.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sanjeewa. With regards to that positive notion, I believe the viewers have been looking forward to some sort of an answer, because at the end of the day, I don't believe that we are fault finding in this condition, but rather we are afraid, will it take over the economy of Sri Lanka? Will we have the loss of job opportunities, and also how we will survive in our day-to-day circumstances? I believe that every one of us has these questions, and we will discuss about the way through with regards to the US tariff condition in the next segment. Before that, let's go in for a short commercial break. This is TPS. Welcome back to TPS. We were discussing about how this US tariff condition has been echoing throughout, door to door, and also with regards to every one of us in the current political landscape. And both these political leaders have been bringing about their notion with regards to their political stances and how specifically the government has been looking through this aspect and bringing about certain solutions and objectives, and also the opposition working towards making sure that the government is going in the right path as well. So with that being said, I wanted to direct this question to you. It's more like a final notion that you can give all our viewers and spectators. Now, with regards to the UNP, now, if you all have this vision statement with regards to the current economic status, be it you all are not in the main party, but then again being in the opposition, what do you think will be a strength that UNP possess in terms of mitigating, or rather bringing about a solution for the US tariff condition?
Well, I have to give the answer for Mr. Dayarathne's comments on the what have done in United National Party eras. I don't know what is this fate. I mean, every moment when the UNP took over the power, the economy is facing a big trouble. I mean, then the UNP government has to stabilize this economic system. At that time, the 2015, I'm not going to the figures as he mentioned, but at that time also our responsibility were to stabilize the country at that time. The same thing happening in the 2022 when Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe took over the power. He has to stabilize the country again. These things happen always when we took over the power. Before that, at that time we have to stabilize the country. That is what I am mentioning in the earlier. Then for his comment, I am very happy about that. He told that the fourth review also already done, and that's good. That's what the UNP also suggests, that go through this track, this IMF process. That's good if they are going like that until the 2027. That's good. If we are also focusing about the betterment of this country. So whatever the party politics, if they are following the same thing what we have done in earlier and following our steps, then that's good. Actually, then I think our cabinet member, the amount of the cabinet members around 20 when the President Ranil Wickremesinghe's administration, and Mr. Sanjeewa Dayarathne mentioned that tax burden, they are not going to give the tax burden. I don't know, before the election they told things like that, but I don't know what is happening in the electricity tariff and all those things. They are working with the IMF program. So then, and another thing, I have to mention that last 2 years when the President Ranil Wickremesinghe governed this country, we that time we bring some investment. I told in earlier in the energy sector, but the people who are in the opposition at that time, NPP government were in the opposition side, they criticized this, they opposed this. So that is what we are trying to bring some investment. But then and also the Sinopec's oil, the project that also brought in the time Mr. Ranil Wickremesinghe's time. That time also we have trying to do is bring some investment to this country, so the betterment of country. Another thing, if we are not focusing on this US tariff issue properly by going for a best negotiation, there are around 300,000 direct jobs are affected from, if something happen, if they can't reduce the 30%, that we are facing a big trouble in that field, in the apparel sector and the tea and rubber manufacturers, that area. And sometimes not the direct, indirect incomes also, the incomes of the people will we can't do anything for them. It's 1 million, around 1 million people can't bring their day-to-day life if that effect was there. So what we are suggesting as the United National Party, we have to follow this IMF program. That's why we are always introducing this act. That if you go through the Economic Transformation Act, you will find that very correctly that it mentions the path that country should go. Although we are in opposition, we are giving instructions to the government also by passing that kind of acts. Economic transformation, that public finance management. Now onwards, they are making the budgets according to this Public Finance Management Act. They have to adhere to this act. That's what we are telling. Although we are in the opposition, but we have made the track. We have already built the track to whatever the government who comes to the power, they have to go in this manner. There's no any solution we are seeing. That's why I'm telling that go through this way. And we know that the leader told once that they don't have experience, but they have to get experience. Once he told, explained, comment on the ambassadors. They are training. They are giving the trainings to ambassadors. I don't know whether ambassadors give the training to them in the US issue. Mr. Mahinda Samarathne is leading that negotiation team. So anyway, if we are not in the power, if we are not the governing the country, we can say many things. But if we come to the power, they will realize that how hard this we can do. So that's why we are telling by sitting in the opposition, we are supporting if we are doing good things for the betterment of this country. This Trump tariff issue, you have to get some opinions from the experienced people. I suggest, my personal view, have to get the opinions from the experienced people who are in the political arena also. I think that is the good way to go more in the future.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Sumudu. With that being said, and also as a closing remark from your end, Mr. Sanjeewa, now 2 questions. Let's make it short and sweet as well. So first thing is, are you all ready to get the support, or more like not the criticism, but more like the solutions that the opposition tries to pose towards your way and push through, and suggestions as well? In that context, are you all ready to take it through? And the second is, what is the NPP's vision in terms of bringing through Sri Lanka out of these US tariff hardships, more like in terms of what is happening currently in the political landscape?
Yeah. Just to elaborate the Sumudu statement about the other people who are creating the track, yes, we'll have to give the credit to them as well. But unfortunately, they are creating the track, but they are never drive through that track. That is what has happened in history. That is why if those the people who drive this track, we will not be in this position. So that is why we believe that people have given the responsibility to drive these proper tracks in this country to the betterment. That is why I believe that currently the IMF program indicated one other than this fiscal consolidation, reserve building. They have mentioned about reducing the corruption and vulnerability. So that has come in 2023 IMF program. That is because of historically we have not done. So that is why the people have given the power to the NPP to make sure that we are going to reduce this corruption as well. And also how we are going to make this country betterment. So at the moment we have 3 programs, mainly the NPP government. One is Clean Sri Lanka. It is not cleaning up the environment. Cleaning up the environment is one part of the program, and also cleaning up the entire processes. And also other program is digitalization. So in order to rectify the corruption, there is no other way we can bring a lot of rules and regulation. It is not effective. That is why we identify the digitalization would be the best way to reduce the corruption. And other one is reduction of the poverty. So we are in the process of I think the last 4th July the government initiated the program to reduce the poverty in Sri Lanka, and identifying different Grama Seva regions and establishing entities to bring up reduce the power and try to distribute the capital expenditure. At the moment, this government has allocated the 1.3 trillion in the budget for the capital expenditure, which is the highest ever the budget has been allocated. So at the moment, government is start mobilizing those funds to the required people and identified segment to bring the current situation, at least we are to live in peace and harmony in next couple of years. We know that to give the sum up about that, especially the US tariff, we believe that the team that we have identified is a professional team that can handle the situation. We believe we trust on these people, and we are very much confident that we'll be able to reduce further on tariff. And also we have not taken we have taken very seriously about the US tariff, and we are working on that as well.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjeewa. I believe with regards to Mr. Sanjeewa's comment, there's some sort of positivity with regards to facing this US tariff condition. At the end of the day, it's not about only the way of the economy collapsing, or else more like the economic challenges, but it's also a challenge for the leadership, for the people, for the society, and also the leadership resilience and the resilience of the entire nation. So thank you so much to both our gentlemen, Mr. Sanjeewa Dayarathne from the National People's Power, thank you for joining us, and also Mr. Sumudu kakulandala from the United National Party, thank you so much for joining us as well. So today we discussed about how the US tariff has been echoing throughout Sri Lanka. All our people have been questioning, but at the end of the day, it's not about fault finding. It's about us questioning the government or the political parties, or finding through a solution for our day-to-day lifestyle, and also how Sri Lanka can get rid or get out of this prominent and impactful challenge. So don't forget to send us your feedback for this program as well as all other programs to our email at feedback.ad24english@derana.lk or via WhatsApp at 076-805-7933. We will see you again with another episode where we discuss about the political tensions and the most spoken landscape of Sri Lanka in terms of policies and also the societal development. Looking forward to seeing you with another episode. Until then, take care and have a good night.